Yeah, right now, yeah, it's like too close. Everybody's like too like.
The summer animation project was an idea when I first got hired here 3 years ago to allow the students to see how the animation process actually worked. Within a regular educational structure, animators learn their little pieces of an animated film, but they never see how the entire project is put together, or when they work on an asset or a piece of the animation, what happens when it goes on to somebody else. So it was a way for the students to see in a very direct way how an animation studio would actually work. This is our first year working with the summer HD film within the telecommunications department, and so far it's been really good. We had been talking for the last couple of years about possibly doing a combined effort in some way.
Just play with it, keep saying it a couple different ways, and we'll see if we find something we like.
Flaming sphere!
3D animation brings something that's rather unique that we don't really have the opportunity to do in real life. The film opens with a battle sequence in kind of a fantasy world, kind of inside of your D&D games that we can't really do. The battle axes and heavy carapace armor, and there's even a part where some of the characters get decapitated.
Well, let's see. There's the scenes that are being put into 3D are there's the opening sequence where they're to not spoil anything, I guess they're playing a game. The characters in the movie are playing Dungeons and Dragons, and the animated scene is basically like the animated version of that. And there's a little battle going on, not without ruining anything, I guess. There's some sword fights, some spell castings, and stuff like that. And then later in the movie, there's a sequence when a main character has a crush on a girl he meets, and he's kind of fantasizing about the cliche scene of saving her from danger, kind of the damsel in distress sort of thing. And so it's funny, and it'll be cool at the same time.
Work with the sound and make it lower, or do you need me to do that?
I've got it on my end.
Okay, cool. Okay.
It offers us a chance to experience a fantasy world without having to kind of mock it up with real people and like a real forest, and it allows us to have some more special effects like spells or glorious sunsets on mountains, things like that.
Well, I think in my opinion, there's a need for the CGI scenes because our target audience of people, this is the world that they relate to. They are video gamers, they are players of Dungeons and Dragons, and this is the world that they'll be able to relate to most because they're used to seeing animated CGI stuff in their video games and stuff, and this is what they will relate to the most.
The animation process starts from a script that we were given this year from the TCOM department with their HD summer movie. And from there, we actually will go in and storyboard the entire project, which is pretty much just a comic book of the entire script.
Well, I start off by, I draw up some storyboards of what I first picture from the scene, and then they take those and basically create live versions of the shots. What I mainly do is look at the shots that I told them to do, and then there will be usually like some adjustments of make the camera lower, increase the focal length that you're using, and then from there we go into animating the actual like acting of the characters and making sure they are having the right emotion that they need to. But the good thing about that is you can edit that for pretty late into the stage of animation is what exactly they do, and things along those lines.
Once we have that, we can create what's called an animatic, which is we take the storyboard panels, put them into an editing software and kind of see how they play within timing. So we could see how long each shot should be, pacing of the entire film really early on. From there, we'll do character designs. So we'll design what the environments look like, what the characters look like, what the props and the costumes and anything that you see on screen in an animated film has to be created. So we have to know what that looks like. From there, we will hand those designs off to the modelers. The modelers will then go in with our software and actually create the geometry. There's nothing there, so we will virtually create all this geometry.
My team's responsible for making basically everything that you'll see in the animated portion, from the characters to the props to the environment. The process of modeling will take simple objects like cubes or cylinders and basically make complex models out of those simple shapes. Some things like characters, that we have a human template that we take and modify heavily to make them look like our characters.
From there, the geometry will go into a couple different areas. It'll go to the rigging team, and the riggers will actually put the control systems into the characters and props. It'll also go to the texturing team, and they will actually create the shaders and surface properties and the color of each object.
The rigging part of the title is the whole process of making things movable or animatable. So it's like putting in the skeletons inside of the characters, putting in any muscle systems, those sorts of things, basically making it so that the character is able to deform and perform for the animators. As an addendum to that whole responsibility set is that I'm sort of the go-to problem solver person. If there's something wrong with a scene or an asset, I'm typically the one they go to and ask how to resolve the problem.
We are responsible for all the texturing and the coloring of the materials, so everything starts off as like a flat gray model, and our job is to take that gray model and make it into, you know, a metal texture or a skin texture. A lot of times we'll have very complex shapes like a human head or something, and we have to be able to texture it, we have to lay that out flat. So it's like taking a globe and, you know, laying it out flat. You know, you're gonna have stretching and, you know, different things. So trying to minimize the stretching and getting good textures. So that's probably the most challenging thing that we do.
From there, it'll go to the animation team, and they actually animate everything and bring everything to life.
Going all the way around the face.
The animators were responsible basically for making all the characters as lifelike as possible and creating the actual performances within the digital aspect of this movie. As lead animator, I'm working alongside my team animating, and I'm also handing out various shots to them, making sure they're on the right tracks and keeping all of the animation performances cohesive so it's all one solid story.
We basically use them like puppets. And we basically are the actors. You have to put, you know, skeleton and muscle systems in there, and then, you know, you have to have controllers on there to make them move. And that's what we do. We move the controllers and, you know, make them actually move, like using the computer program. It's very easy in animation to kind of lose that human aspect, and you want to make sure that the actor's personality comes through. So like if the actor sounds sad, you want to make the character look sad, or, you know, a little over-exaggerated a little bit.
After the animation team touches it, it'll go to visual effects and lighting. So then we will add, we're doing hair simulations and cloth simulations this year, explosions, fire, grass, and things like that.
And the other thing on the head is
created.
Once everything has its animation finalized, we attach the hair, attach the cloth, and then run all of our simulations for those, as well as the particle simulations, both in 3D and in post, for the special effects. With this project in particular, it's the first time that Ball State's done any hair or cloth simulations, so this is a complete new road for us to take, and we have a lot of different hurdles to jump over as far as learning how to do this for the first time. So that's definitely our biggest challenge.
The process of my specific job is a lot of trial and error. We go through, we look at what we need to do, what we need to accomplish, the style, the techniques, and then we apply that to the model, and we run through a lot of tests, a lot of renders and catches, and we try to get the right look for what the director's going for.
Then lighting, we'll actually set up the lights just like you do in the real world, and then we render it. And then After rendering, it goes to compositing, and then we'll hand it off when we're done.
How much is a regular fettuccine?
Probably like $12.
What? Are you serious?
For a double venti, super extra shot double cream.
The atmosphere, when I first started this whole idea of this summer animation project, was to closely simulate what it would be like to work in an animation studio. And I can honestly say it even went beyond what I thought it would be. It really is a relaxed atmosphere where the students really take a grasp of what's been assigned to them and make it their own. And it really is like a real animation studio. You know, the students spend lots of extra time outside of class working on the project, and you know, it's a tight-knit group of people that work really closely together, and it's a really fun experience, I think, overall.
For the project as a whole, I just want everything to turn out as best of it as it can. I want it to be the highest quality possible. I'd like the film to be fun, like funny, and a great experience to watch. Like people to enjoy the film. That's like the whole reason we're doing this, as sort of entertainers to tell a story and either bring a smile to people's faces or just to bring a little joy into their lives.
Oh, I would just like to be noticed, you know, to have the final project just be, you know, out there, to get out there to see, you know, what Ball State can do with the programs that they have here.
The future of it would be for me not to have to show up ever again. The idea would be to teach the students enough information during the regular fall and spring semester that they could come in and just sit down and run an animation studio. I want the students that take this class to be ready to go out into the real world and have animation studio experience under their belt. It's very difficult to find an internship where we're located in this kind of field, so this is the next best thing, is we'll just create our own. We have all the equipment, we have all the software. It's just coming up with, you know, a production pipeline that works and that mimics what they do in the real industry.